All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Note Night in America here. Happy MLK Day, everybody. Hopefully you're got a place to take some notes, jot down some great stuff, because we're really excited to have our very special guest up. But before I introduce him here, we are trying to live stream this via Clubhouse app. If you're on Clubhouse, you can join us by going to notenightinamerica.com and join the conversation here on Zoom. But for those of you guys that are joining us here on Note Night in America for the first time, welcome. Really excited about having you here. Always love it. These calls are recorded. I did hit the red button to record. Yes, I did. The red light is flashing. All calls recorded. We do this basically just about every Monday night with content and speakers and subject matter when it comes to notes, real estate investing, business entrepreneurship, and other things. You can always catch the replays of our Note Night America podcast by going to weclosenotes.tv. That will take you directly to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button while you're there. And if you like listening to podcasts, you can always catch them on the Note Night in America podcast as well. It's up there, not quite the 50 megawatt blowtorch that we have with our main podcast, the Note Closure Show, but we have got plenty of information, plenty of content for you, not only in the podcast, but also weclosenotes.com. And encourage you guys to check it out there as an extra resource for you guys, wherever and however you're coming across our content. But we're excited because the Note Closure Show exceeded 1 million plus downloads in December, and we've got over 45 million plus radio listeners across the country. So honored to have you guys listening and enjoying. Plenty of resources for each and everybody who's joining us tonight or watching the replay across YouTube or wherever, or listening to the replay. But anyway, guys, we're going to take your questions a little bit later. We're going to encourage you to ask questions. Type them in the chat roll if you're watching live on Clubhouse. Raise your hand and make sure to get to them. But we're really honored to have a very special topic tonight. Obviously, it's 2021. For many of you, it's a new year. We've got a new president going to be sworn in a couple days. Hopefully, a lot of newness and a lot of good stuff going for it. If you were a Debbie Downer, at the end of last year, no matter what happened, it's time to turn that frown upside down and turn it back into a smile. But we're really excited to have our special guest tonight. This guy, I call him one of the most interesting men in the world. He doesn't need to have a beer, Dos Equis commercial. Very interesting. He is the CEO of Laughlin and Associates, which has been in business for going on, I think, 50 years now in Reno, Nevada. One of the original founders of the Las Vegas LLC, one of the great companies that we work with that helps not only myself with our entities, but also a variety of other clients. He's an active entrepreneur and investor. He is the host of the Unshackled Owner podcast. You can check it out on iTunes, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Along with 95% of my mastermind students work with his team to help keep their assets out of a sling, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the most important things as an entrepreneur is you want to make sure and protect your assets. That's part of the reason we go into business is to do something bigger and better than working for the man. Although there's nothing wrong for the man working for the man, but I think most people strive to be their own boss and own their own business. He is a farmer, a horseman, and whether or not he is the smartest goat herder that I know, he is one of my and others' favorite people. Always a joy to hang out with Aaron, whether it's sitting around at Disneyland, sitting around in a restaurant, or going out to sport events or whatever. It is just always a joy to have him on here. And we're honored to have my good friend, Mr. Aaron Scott Young, join us here tonight on Note Night in America. So what is going on, Aaron? Happy New Year to you guys.
Brother Carson, it is a pleasure to be here with you and with the group. And I'm excited, and it'll be a fun thing to do. You want me to start my video?
Yeah, go right ahead. We want to see your smiling face. They don't need to see mine.
Well,
they see mine.
I saw there was no video for you, so I thought this is obviously a no video zone. So look at you. What a handsome fella. Hold on. Get rid of that button. Okay. Well, so this will be fun. You know, it's really fun. For the listeners, let me tell you what happened. So we are, because of our 50th anniversary, we're kind of redoing a bunch of our stuff. And I've built out some really cool things that we're going to be using for marketing campaigns and to grow our clients. We're getting ready to go public. We're doing all these wild things, right? And so I just in the last hour recorded a new webinar that's going to be out there and going to be an evergreen webinar on our website. And so I got on here 8 minutes ago and said to Scott, are we doing an interview or did you want me to teach a class? And he said, no, I want you to teach a class. I said, well, I just happen to have one that I just went through for the very first time. So but the good news is that I did want to I knew I was going to make an offer for something that would be exciting for this group, that would be a lot of content. And so I did something fun, but I didn't know I was going to use slides. I thought I was just going to talk. So, but guess what I like to do?
He likes to talk, ladies and gentlemen.
I like to talk and I like to use slides. By the way, I was down with the goats last night, and we have 18 baby goats on the ground right now.
Wow.
And they're just hopping all over the place. And it was freezing cold. It's like, 34 degrees. And I was out there in the dark, and we were bottle feeding a little baby whose mom had died. And I thought, I get to do this. I get to raise horses. I get to go travel all over the place. Why? Because we figured out some things that other people want. Was it Zig Ziglar who said, the way to get everything you want is to help enough other people get what they want? Well, for 50 years almost, Laughlin's been doing this. And it just really struck me. I was doing something that maybe wouldn't be fun for anybody else, but I was down there with all these little baby goats hopping around. And I thought, it's because we figured out how to build businesses over the last since 1983. So whatever that is that almost 38 years?
Yeah, it is, man.
Old? Jeez Louise. That's for the last 15 years, I've been building business. Forget all this gray hair. We figured out how to do it, and you do it, and you always follow the same steps. You got to get certain things in place if you want to build a business. Now, if you just want to be self-employed, that's fine too. But no matter what, there's certain things, if you do it, it'll give you very, very positive results. So that's what this webinar is about. And I'll go ahead and am I able to share my screen?
Yes, sir. Share away.
Let me share because there you are. So, and then let me get this presentation up and we'll go through it. This is something I was really excited about. I just put it together for our database, but I'm going to share it with you guys. You guys are literally the first ones to see it because we haven't even launched it yet. So there you go. And there's me. I said, Megan, that doesn't look like me anymore. That's like 3 years old before I had a beard, and it's funny how fast the gray hair is like springing out of my head. So anyway, I thought, God, I wish I looked like that young kid now, but I look like me now. So anyway, we're going to talk about the secrets of using a corporation or LLC, which is your backstage pass to profits, to success, to profitability, all those things that Scott promised. And if you guys will take notes, I'm actually super excited about this stuff. So hopefully you'll take notes, and I'll go relatively quickly, but I'm not going to skip any of the important stuff. Okay. So first of all, just who we are. As Scott said, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. We really actually started in 71, but we became kind of more of a national force in 72. And we always say we started in 72. The entity actually was 1971. We form corporations and LLCs in all 50 states. So if you have an entity, or if you want to get a corporation or LLC set up at some point, no matter what state you're in, we've been doing this for hundreds of thousands of customers. We also help you with your corporate compliance. In other words, knowing and following the rules so that your company actually gives you the results you wanted. We are asset protection specialists, and we do strategies for people from all around the United States and all around the world. We do lots of educational stuff, including kind of the big jewel in the crown, which is we call the Magnify Your Wealth Summit, which we teach twice a year. Last one was in Denver. The next one is in San Diego in June. And we do lots of other stuff. We've A+ with Better Business Bureau. The only reason I even put that on there, guys, is because over 50 years, you could get a lot of complaints. Okay. And I'm just saying, to be able to have hundreds of thousands of customers in over this many years, I feel that that's a real positive thing. And I don't take the credit myself. We have a phenomenal team, and they just do a great job making sure that when I come on and teach these things that we actually fulfill in that way. So just to ask yourself a question, where are you now? Are you just getting started in business? Are you already established in business? Are you a real estate investor? And maybe you don't even think that that is a business. A lot of real estate investors, they go, oh, well, I have a W-2 job. I have a job. I don't really have a business, but I do have 11 rental properties. Well, I'm going to tell you what, that's a business because you're engaging with the public. So which one of these are you? You might want to even write it in the chat. I can't really see in the chat, but this may start to stimulate the conversation. Where are you now? And what I want to talk about is whether you're just getting started, you're trying to figure it out and you don't want to make a lot of mistakes, or you're established. And I promise if you're established, this is going to mean a lot to you. And if you're a real estate investor, I want you to start thinking of yourself as a business owner because you own assets. And we want to make sure that you're able to hold on to those assets and continue to grow them and continue to leverage your assets over time to build up your empire. So we want to build a strong foundation. We're going to talk about that, how to protect your assets from litigation, how to reduce your risk and increase your reward. Now that really is about taxes. That's how to get all the tax deductions you want and to be able to defend those tax deductions so that you can really, I'll just tell you, a lot of people take deductions, business deductions, and then they get an audit and the auditor says, oh, no, we're going to wipe all this off there. You're going to have to owe us a bunch of money. And they go, well, wait, I've been paying the state every year to be a corporation or LLC. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't do the work to show that you were a legitimate business. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit here. And it's a really terrible thing that people in a lawsuit or an audit oftentimes find out they don't have the protection or can't take the deductions they thought they could simply because they didn't know the laws associated with corporations and LLCs. They thought paying the state was all you had to do. We also want to help you avoid some common business mistakes a lot of owners make and scale your business up. So we know, or we suspect if you're just beginning, that being a business owner can give you tons of benefits. And that is true. Thousands of deductions that W-2 wage earners don't get, business tax credits, and then of course, asset protection. Asset protection that separates your home estate from your business projects over here. So there's tremendous benefits. Matter of fact, a guy named Sandy Botkin, he's got a great book out there, but he's a lawyer, a tax lawyer, a CPA, and an enrolled agent. And I heard him say, he spoke at a lot of my events, and he said one time, you would be brain dead. You would have to be brain dead to not form a business entity, even to just go sign up to sell Tupperware, because of all the business advantages or all the tax advantages you get by being a properly organized business. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to get something set up so you can get all those benefits, you need to make sure that you have a foundation, your tax planning, your asset protection, you understand your funding, where it's coming from. You've got a good strategy in place and you've got team around you to build it. Scott, what would you do without your team? Right?
Yeah, it's not, you've got to have a team these days if you want to go far. I mean, if you want to try to go fast, to go by yourself, but if you say you want to go far, you need a team and have people to help you out with it. I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at without the team around me.
It's critical. So first is the foundation. Always start with a strong foundation. And when you're talking about business entities, there's really 4 primary things, kind of 5 if you count DBAs. So there's DBA. First, there's sole proprietor. Sole proprietor is just you start doing something. Well, we'll go through this more in a minute. Sole proprietor, C Corp, S Corp, and LLC. So let's talk about these things. Whatever one you choose, whichever one you decide, should be based, and often is not. So think about this. Those that are already set up in an LLC, you're probably in an LLC. Most people these days are forming LLCs, oftentimes incorrectly or recklessly. We always want to do what Stephen Covey said, which was begin with the end in mind. What is the outcome you want to produce from this activity called your business, and which vehicle is going to get you there most successfully with the easiest travel, the best benefits, best gas mileage, fastest speed, right? because whether you use an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, or you decide to be a sole proprietor, there are going to be different rules associated with each. Each one of those is like a different tool, like a hammer, a saw, or a screwdriver. Well, you use all of them to build something, but you can't really successfully pound a nail in with a saw, right? I mean, you could try, but it's inefficient. You can't really cut a board with a hammer. You can beat the snot out of it. You might eventually get it into two pieces, but it's going to be very inelegant. So when you use the right tools, it gets you to the outcome much more quickly. So you want to begin with the end in mind. So what are your options? And this should be, I'm going to do this out of order. So sole proprietor is just you. You're not a legal entity. It's just you. Aaron Young is, I know how to do horse training. So it's now Aaron Young Horse Training, right? And it's not a legal entity. There's no liability protection. There's no special tax benefits. I'm responsible for any problems. I'm responsible for all the debts. It's just me, no different than if I was a W-2 worker. It's just me. Now, some people go a step further and they say, I'm going to change the name from Aaron Young to maybe Lookout Mountain Horse Training. That's called doing business as. Again, not a legal entity. It's just a name. It does zero good for you other than from a marketing perspective. It's the only reason to be a DBA. So sometimes a sole proprietor will set up a DBA and that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's really nothing right with it either. That doesn't do you any good other than you've started. Okay. So then the next step would be, okay, we'll form a corporation. So corporations always start out as a C corporation, and most big companies are a C corporation. C corporations can have different classes of stock. They can provide things like employee stock option benefits. It's easier to bring investors in using shares in a C Corp. That's why all the public companies are C Corps, right? They've got their own tax return that they turn in. It doesn't go over to you. They don't have to be on a January through December fiscal year. There's a lot of interesting flexibility that you can get with a C Corp. It's a little bit more work and it's more expense. And if you're bigger, a C Corp may be right as maybe you're kind of your mothership, your main holding company for all your different activities. But a lot of people don't want all the extra work. They may have smaller but more diverse income streams. And so a lot of times what they'll do is they'll form the corporation, but then they'll do what's called an S election and Form 2533, and they will become an S corporation. S corporations are passed through. They don't do their own tax return. The gains and losses flow through to your personal Schedule C on your tax return or any of the shareholders' tax returns. So it's a pass through. You still get the credibility of being president of the company and so on. You still get lots of deductions, lots of benefits you can do for your employees. But an S Corp pass-through entity makes it easier. So let's say you have let's say you and your spouse, you have both of you or one of you has a W-2 income. And maybe one of you is involved in multi-level marketing and you get a check for $137 a month from, doTERRA. And then you've got a couple of rental houses, and then you also sell wood sculptures you make in the shop in your garage, and you sell those on Etsy. And you just have a bunch of different little diverse things that are all coming in to your household, including the work from your business entity, which is your S Corp. And it all flows to one place, and you figure out gains and losses, and you come up with a taxable amount, and that's it. That's one nice thing about an S Corp. The other nice thing is that if it's just you as the only owner, or you and your spouse are the owners, in an S corporation, you could do this in a C too, but we're trying to make life simpler. And since almost all small businesses are one or two owners, in an S Corp, you can both be W-2 employees. You could own 50-50. If it's you and your spouse, you could both be 50-50 owners of the company. You could both be W-2 employees of the company. And that would be a great benefit from an asset protection perspective and from a tax perspective. And I'll talk about those in a minute. Most people these days are setting up LLCs because they think LLCs are cooler and hipper and smoother and just shinier and better for some reason. LLCs are very cool, but LLCs are not really designed as the primary operating business for a one-member LLC, nor for spouses who both want to be owners. And I'm saying spouses. Now, if you have a common law relationship of some sort, or if it's you and your child, or you and your friend, or you and an investor, that's fine. But if it's you and your legally, lawfully wedded spouse, the law sees you as one. They see your estate as the member of the LLC, rather than both of you being members. And so effectively, that's a one-member LLC. And a one-member LLC has one way of being taxed. It's the same as an S corp, but you can't be a W-2 employee of the company. You can only take distributions. And when you can only take distribution, it means you're paying self-employment tax, which is the highest tax rate. So for a one owner business or a spouse owner business, you and your spouse, I prefer S corporations. You can use an LLC, but you're really not using it as the way it was designed. You're using it, you're trying to cut the board with the hammer. You can do it, but it's inelegant. For you and your child, you and your friend, you and some other partner, LLCs are fabulous because they have great tax flexibility. There's 4 different ways a properly set up LLC can be taxed. 4 ways. I'll show you in a minute. It's great protection against creditors because they can't take away your ownership. They can step in front and take distributions the company might make to you, but they can't hurt your partners and they can't take away your ownership. There's a variety of ways you can manage an LLC. It's just really great. And if you're buying and selling real estate or oil and gas, LLC is the way to go for holding those assets. LLCs are fabulous for holding real estate. As a matter of fact, they're, in my opinion, these days, they're the best entity for holding real estate. But a lot of times you'll have a corporation up above that that's managing the real estate. Okay, so those are your options: sole proprietor, C Corp, S Corp, or LLC. C Corps are usually better for bigger operations, more investors, more complexity and levels of stock and so on. Or if you just need something separate from you to own the rest of the stuff. S Corp is great for a one owner or spouse owned businesses where it's a going concern. LLC is great for you and somebody you're not married to. And it's incredibly flexible, and I love them in that situation. Okay. Where should you incorporate? Well, it's probably going to be almost always wherever the business is happening. Now, there are times when you'd use a preferred jurisdiction like Delaware, Wyoming, or the number one, Nevada. Those are strategic choices unless you live in those states. Otherwise, you use those states as something that is part of a bigger strategy, okay? Because if somebody tells you, oh, incorporate, like let's say you're in California and they say incorporate in Nevada and you can skip the California state taxes, that is not true. That's a lie, and it's trying to cheat the system. Sure, Nevada is not going to talk to California, but if you do that and you try to be cute and avoid that, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Now go the other way. You incorporate Nevada. California wants to know who is this foreign company doing business, and they won't allow you to be private. They'll make you tell them who you are. So now you've lost any benefit of privacy or officer and director indemnity or any of the stuff that goes along with Nevada. It gets wiped out by being in California. So you may as well set up a California company, and as it gets bigger, then you can add Nevada or Wyoming or Delaware to a strategy. So that's the simple answer. Where should you form your entity? Wherever the activity is, wherever the main business activity is. Okay. Then there's kind of a big process, and most people don't realize that there's all this to it. First, you figure out what state you're going to be in. Then you pick your name and you submit those to the state, see if any of them are available. You must select a registered agent. It can be you, but I think that it's a little bit of a mistake to be your own registered agent, because the law in all 50 states says that the registered agent should be open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday to receive service of process, which means to receive a lawsuit. That's the law. So if you're your own resident agent, which you can be, and then you are not available to have the process server or the sheriff give you that, you can get into more trouble with the government because you broke another rule. Okay. So anyway, so you figure out your state, you figure out your name, you get a resident agent, you file your, in the case of a corporation, your bylaws, and or not your bylaws, your articles of incorporation, submit them to the state. If you don't know how to do that, the state will give you a little dinky thing that just says you filed it. Then you need to file or form or draft your bylaws, the rules under which your company will operate. Then the shareholders, even if it's just you, need to have a formal board or formal shareholders meeting called the organizational meeting. Every entity needs to have this in order to be legal. And yet probably 95% of the companies out there who went directly to the Secretary of State or went to some online group like, I mean, not to knock it or anything, but like Rocket Lawyer or LegalZoom, and did the cheapest thing possible, they never had an organizational meeting. So they're already out of line. They're already not going to stand up in a crisis. Anyway, you have your organizational meeting. Then you have to issue ownership, which means issue stock. So I don't know how many of you out there have a corporation or an LLC, and you've actually filled in a stock certificate or a membership certificate for the LLC with your name on it, and then taken that out of the book and put it in your strong box, and then filled in the stock ledger who got what shares of stock. Almost nobody does it, but if you don't do it, your entity is doing you no good. It's useless if you haven't done these things. Then you have to have ongoing board meetings, minutes, pass resolutions, and so on. Almost nobody does it. And this is the backstage path to success, guys. Here's the deal. If you aren't doing these things yet, I'm teaching you what you need to do so that you're protected and so that you can defend your deductions on your taxes. If you ignore what I'm teaching you, it's going to end up hurting you if you're ever looked at in a lawsuit, in an audit, in a divorce, in a partnership breakup. If you're going out to get money, if you want to do a government contract, if you want to go out and get the PPP money, any of those things, you need all of this in place, okay? When you're choosing an entity, you want to figure out how easy is it to set it up and who's in charge, who controls it, what are the different tax consequences that I've alluded to, where's the money coming from to fund the company, and what's my exit plan? Am I going to sell the company, pass it down to the next generation, just turn the lights off one day? What's your exit plan? So ask yourself, what kind of entity do I have? And do you think you're in the right entity? And write down the question. Am I in the right entity? Am I a sole proprietor, C Corp, S Corp, LLC? Maybe you're a nonprofit, probably not on this presentation, but maybe you are. And are you set up right? And are you following all those rules? Ask yourself the question. Albert Einstein said the hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax, and he meant the United States income tax. So tax plan, yeah, smart guy going, this is crazy stuff. And that was a long time ago. It's gotten worse. So how is your business taxed? You know, every one of them is different. Sole proprietor is subject to all the normal state and federal taxes. They have the highest rate of audit of all the ways you could be in business. First, sole proprietors, most audited. Then one member LLCs, most audited. Why? Because they know you don't know what you're doing, probably, if you're set up that way. Least audited, C corporation. Why? Normally bigger companies who have more education in how to operate legally and can probably hire a lawyer, a CPA. So they're the least audited, but it goes sole proprietor, one member LLC, multi-member LLC, S Corp, C Corp. That's who gets audited. Sole proprietors and one-member LLCs are paying self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. That's puts you, if you're making money, that puts you in the highest tax bracket possible. So I don't know if you're making money, what does that tax represent to you? And would it be better to spend a few $100 and set up a corporation or an LLC? Only you know. So this is how sole proprietorships are done. Corporations, C Corps are a separate entity from you. They have a separate tax return. They pay their taxes based on the corporate tax rate. That's how they work. If you decide to do an S election, it's a pass-through. So it's whatever all your various gains and losses in your world are, and then whatever the taxable amount is, it goes into whatever that tax bracket is. It's a pass-through. LLCs have 4 ways of being taxed: as a disregarded entity, as a partnership, as an S Corp, which is just like the last one we did, or like a C Corp. This only counts for 2 or more member LLCs. And remember, the 2 members cannot be married to each other. They can be married to somebody else, but they've got to be separate estates. Okay. That's how they're taxed. And then there are gazillions of benefits, tons of deductions, thousands and thousands of deductions for properly set up business entities that W-2 employees just don't get, that sole proprietors don't get. So if you want all the benefits, then you want to be set up properly as an entity. As a business owner, you are literally sitting on thousands of dollars of tax deductions if you know the rules. That's a quote from James Conaway at Blue Pacific Solutions Group they're down out of Orange County, California, work with high net worth individuals. So he says you're sitting on thousands of dollars of deductions if you only knew how to get to them, right? So ask yourself, answer yes or no. I know I'm getting every deduction I qualify for. And if you answer yes, you better be like a top-notch CPA that's answering that question, because the code is so complex and ever-changing. You have to be a student of the code to know you're getting all the deductions. The government even says the average small business owner is overpaying their taxes by $11,300.
Wow.
That's the IRS saying that, right? So what if just by learning a few things or being set up properly, you could save $11,300? And by the way, you can go back 5 years and restate your taxes and maybe get $55,000 back, just if you're using averages. Are you positive you're getting all the deductions you qualify for? You say whatever you want, but I'm going to tell you that almost everybody answers no to that question. Now, moving beyond taxes, what about financing the business? How you fund your business, how you're set up in your business will make a giant difference in the opportunities you can take advantage for funding, whether it's getting corporate credit, getting investors, taking advantage of government loans. The way you're organized will determine if you get to be in the game or not. Okay. And a lot of people learned this recently with the COVID bailout money. A lot of people who were not set up as a W-2 employee or didn't have they had everybody as like 1099s and they were just taking distributions. They're like, well, why can't I get PPP money? And the reason was because there was no payroll set up with your company in a traditional payroll sense. So I'll just tell you, we got about $250,000 in PPP loans that were forgiven because we were set up properly. Do you think that $250,000 made any difference in our business's world? Absolutely. That was, it covered, what did it cover? Two payrolls or something like that. Can't remember what it was, but we got just a little over $250,000 in PPP money. We also got close to $150,000 in IDA loans. We didn't, there's no payment. I mean, the interest rate's like 3% or something. And there's no payments for a fairly extended period of time. The truth is we haven't even touched the money. We just got it because we were set up right. We could just get the loan, put it in our account and have it sitting there as a buffer against who knows what other crazy stuff might come up. Nobody expected 2020 to be what it was, but it was. So being set up right gave us the opportunity. If you're set up properly, you establish a relationship with your banker, and all of a sudden you're getting access to credit, you're getting better rates. As you get bigger, you move into their private banking world and you get even lower rates, and everything gets easier. When you're set up properly, you can leverage your assets so that you can go out and get outside investor money. You know, people go, oh, you're set up properly. I feel more confident working with somebody who really understands how business and finance works. When you're set up properly, you get more deductions, and you can often defer taxes out multiple years as you have a corporate strategy set up where money can be moved around. Doesn't mean you don't pay it, but you don't pay it now. And the longer you can hold on to your cash, the more opportunities you can take advantage of. So there's all kinds of cool stuff that comes with being structured right. Then as you grow your business, you want to make sure that you're protecting everything, because making money is only as good as your ability to keep the money. So you want to have a good asset protection strategy in place. And you might go, well, you know what? My business is new. I don't even have any money there. So, okay, fine. But do you have anything else? Do you have equity in the home you live in? Do you own any vehicles? Do you have a vacation property? Do you have college savings for your children? Do you have money in an IRA or a 401k? Listen, when you go out and start engaging with the public, there are just inherent risks that come along with that activity. And it's stuff that you may go, hey, I'm a nice person. I'm not hurting anybody. Why would anybody sue me? Why would anybody have any problem with me? It has nothing to do with if you're nice or curmudgeonly. It has everything to do with, do those other people think you have more than they do, and they would like to redistribute some of your wealth their direction? I could tell you story after story after story. Just look at the list and see, even if you just have one rental house, there's a risk. If somebody gets hurt on your property, if somebody gets sick, and the bigger your empire gets, the more money you make, you get up on the radar, and people are like, oh, we'll go after that pot of gold right there. You don't have to ever worry about it if you're set up properly. The problem is most people are not set up properly. They never learn what needs to be done and then take action on it. And that leaves them just out there fully exposed. You don't ever need to be that way, because I'm teaching you tonight the things to pay attention to. But if you just listen and you're kind of surfing Facebook on another tab, or you're kind of watching TV in the background, you're going to miss out. And then someday you may go back and go, man, I remember I heard some class one night that said I should have done this, and dang it if that wasn't right. Guys, learn it now and take action so you don't end up getting hurt. The key to protecting yourself and everything you've built is separating it, putting things in different buckets based on your tolerance for risk. So if you're building a bunch of rental properties, or you're buying a bunch of notes, and they go from non-performing the way you bought them, and now you've renegotiated with the person in the house and they're performing now. Well, how many properties do you want in one LLC? At what point do you go, there's so much value there, I better set up a second LLC and start filling that one? Because if I have a problem here, I don't want to lose everything I've built. Plus you put your home or your personal assets over here. And maybe if you have stock market stuff, you have it over here. And that way, if one of those buckets has a problem, you don't lose everything. Separation is always the key to asset protection. This is why if you go snow skiing, most of those ski resorts, every single chairlift is in a separate corporation. So if somebody falls off the chairlift, or if the chairlift thing breaks and someone's killed, or worse, damaged beyond repair, but they live, that instead of losing the whole resort, all that resort does is lose the insurance money from that one chairlift. That's called separating your risk. Okay, and that's important. So you want to make sure that you're treating your business like a real business, which means separation of assets, maintaining proper corporate records, and then meeting all the legal requirements the way you were set up, so that you're actually a legitimately organized business entity that is a separate paper person from you. If you cut corners, they do something called piercing the corporate veil. And according to Cornell Law Review, piercing the corporate veil is now the most litigated issue in corporate law. And there's a new lawsuit against a small business owner every 22 seconds. So this is a big deal. What they're looking for is to get the business assets and your personal assets by piercing the corporate veil. Meeting the legal requirements and doing the proper maintenance is what keeps the corporate veil in place. So, self-evaluation. Do you or do you not believe that your assets are fully protected? Yes or no? You've done everything you could possibly do to protect your assets, or maybe there's some other stuff that I've just mentioned that you ought to look into. We do something called a snapshot at Laughlin, which is basically us sitting down with you and looking at what have you got, what are your assets, what are your goals, where are you going? Do you have other business entities set up? You know, you've got a corporation here and a couple of LLCs, and I've got this trust and a living trust, and I don't really know how any of these things work together. When you sit down and look at all of the pieces and you look at it with one outcome in mind, it's easy to figure out how should we put these puzzle pieces together to benefit you, so you're getting the best result in your life that you can. That snapshot is a great thing to use, and it will show you what's exposed and what's protected. Okay. Now, having all that stuff in place can get very confusing. So you want to have a strategy. And that's one of the things we do. The strategies are always built on, first, what's the outcome that we want? What's the life you want out of everything you're doing? If you could jump ahead in a time machine and realize your perfect life, what would that look like? And then based on that, okay, so what targets do we need to hit in order to achieve that outcome? And how do we systematically grow and scale our operation or our business so that it grows beyond just what we can do alone? And we start having a team in place. As Scott said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's an old African proverb. You want to scale and grow, and you want to build a team around you where you have a bunch of experts in marketing, sales, technology, human resources, and so on. And you're the visionary, and they're the lieutenants or the generals that are running the show every day. And as you build that strategy, you can start to plan for the long term to get you to the big goals. And whatever that is for you, whatever it is, more time with your family, more time to go travel, more money, fly private, live in multiple houses. I mean, whatever your dream is, having a strategy to get there is the difference between success and failure. So the other thing you have to make sure is how are we going to get there? Do we have the resources, the time, the money, the personnel to actually execute on getting to those targets and having that systematic growth? This is all part of the strategy. And we've been helping people with this forever, for almost 50 years. This is critical. Once you get past survival mode, you need to be in strategy mode so you're building something. And the team around you will do that. The right people in the right roles will tell you what you need to know and tell you how to get there. If you don't have that, chances are you're going nowhere. You're a hamster on a hamster wheel. You're running your tail off. You're running like crazy. You're sweating. You're getting your cardio in for the day, but you're not going anywhere. You're just repeating the same day, same month, same year over and over and over again. And I bet you there's somebody within the sound of my voice who knows what that is, to just live the same day over and over and over again and not really feel like you're progressing. A team will help you get there. So who's on the team? How are you communicating with them? How are you holding them accountable? What does your business look like? How do you flow chart out your organizational chart and use that organizational chart as a guide map to what needs to happen next strategically? And have you written out your vision, and have you shared parts of that with the team so they know where you're going? Because communication, even if you have one person on your team, being aligned in where we're going as a business will make a giant difference and will keep everybody on the same page. Super important. So as I promised you at the beginning, when you know the secrets, you can build a successful business, a business that works harder for you than you have to work for it. I just went to Laughlin Associates for the first time in 4 years. And it was to make a big announcement. And I met a whole bunch of employees that I'd never met before, plus others that have been with us, some of them over 30 years. Our average tenure is 14 years and change at Laughlin. But there were a lot of people I'd never met because I hadn't been there in 4 years. Why? Because when I bought the company, I worked my butt off for it. And then I used the formula that I've used dozens of times to build multi-million-dollar companies. And it gets to the point where the team does the work. And all I have to do is just inspect my expectations. I don't have a job. I own an asset. You can do that with real estate. You can do it with stock. You can do it with going concern businesses. But you need to know the formula. You need to follow the rules. You need to know the secrets. And when you do that, you build real wealth. So I created this class or this training because we're offering a 4-part masterclass. Now stick with me because you're going to get a kick out of what I'm going to do. Scott doesn't even know about this. It's going to be fun. That probably sounds like a setup, but it's really not because I'm going to have to look on my phone to even see what the right numbers are. But what the 4-part masterclass is doing is going to help you build a strong foundation for your business, reduce your taxes, protect your assets, help you to fund your future growth, plan your exit. Most people just decide I'm done working and all their work they just lock the door and turn off the lights and it's gone. Wouldn't you love to build something you could sell that had value even if you weren't there? You can do it so that you can go on and do all these things so you can live your dreams. Module 1 is all about the deep dive on the entities, understanding their purpose, their function, how to expand, how to really use those entities properly, and how to meet the legal compliance, the board of director compliance rules that about 95% of companies are not following, small companies, that actually give you the corporate veil. Without the corporate veil, folks, you're screwed if you have a problem. You're ruined. And you come back after a terrible problem, whatever that is, and you go, I will never let that happen to me again. But most people have to go through that blood, sweat, and pain at least once, okay? So just don't be part of that crowd. Learn it. Learn now so you avoid those problems. Module number 2 is about getting into strategy. So now you've gotten past survival mode, you're growing, you're making money. How do we start using Nevada? How do we use trusts? How do we use a variety of tools to protect what you're working for? I'm going to teach you what your options are. I'm going to show you how to avoid common mistakes. It's going from playing checkers to playing 3-dimensional chess as you grow your estate. It's a pretty exciting. We're going to talk a lot about what John D. Rockefeller said to his children on their deathbed, which was the secret to wealth, the secret to real, true success is own nothing, control everything. And that's what module 2 is going to go into. Module 3 is all about tax reductions. It's identifying, as a matter of fact, in that we're going to show you $100,000 worth of deductions that you're probably missing. Okay. How to use the tax code as a roadmap to reduce your taxes and increase your wealth, taking control of when and how much you pay your taxes. Does that sound fascinating? Yes. Module 4 is something kind of cool. I actually am teaching you the 7-step formula that I've used for all these years to build multi-million-dollar companies. There's an exact recipe. If you go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, through step 7, I've done this dozens of times and I've taught hundreds of large companies how to do this. Companies, hundreds of million in revenue, thousands of employees, private and publicly traded companies, names you know. I've gone and taught their C-suite what I'm going to teach you here. Granted, this will be a shorter version of it, but you're going to get the formula, the 7-step formula to become an unshackled owner. Learn the proven success formula, get your focus, fine-tune your vision, measure results, build your team, understand your financials, build a culture. It's phenomenal training. You're going to get the formula. And I promise you this, when you have a formula, it's like a recipe. If I give you a recipe for chocolate chip cookies and you follow the recipe, you will not get a tuba or cupcakes or a minivan. No, you're going to get chocolate chip cookies every time. They may not be the world's best chocolate chip cookies that first time, but you'll get better and better at it as you follow the recipe, but you will get the result. This always happens. If you have a business idea that has any merit at all, if you follow the recipe, you will get the result. It's just how it is. Oh, if you decide to do this, I'm also going to give you that snapshot that I talked about that we charge $399. If you go to the Laughlin USA website, you'll see you can buy the snapshot for $399 every day. People buy it every day, but I'll give it to you guys here. That's going to be, yeah, you know what that is, Scott.
Yeah, it's nice.
We're going to throw that in. It's fun because remember, I just did this for a whole marketing campaign that we're going to go out and spend a lot of money on, but you guys are the first ones to see it right now tonight. So we're going to build a customized roadmap for you and your business to show you where you are, what you need to do, and how to get to where you want to go. I think that's freaking something you all want. So the class is going to be for you. Did you form a corporation or LLC, but you're not really sure you did it right, especially after everything I just taught you? Are you just getting started and you just don't want to make a bunch of mistakes? Are you already in business, but you're not going as fast as you wish you could? You want to make sure that you're getting all your tax deductions? Do you want to make sure everything you're working for is protected? Do you feel like you've worked hard, but you just don't really know how to go forward from where you are? You're kind of like up to here. You've used all of your cleverness up. Do you want to know how to really make an impact, leave a legacy with your business, and start to build a business like you've always dreamed you could build? Everybody comes to me and says, this is what I want. I have no clue how to do it. And we're going to show you how to do it in this masterclass. So here's the deal. You just join it by going to secretsclass.com. Secrets. Will you pull that up, Scott?
Yep.
I want to make sure it's even there. Wouldn't that be horrible if the page wasn't up yet? Guys, really seriously, you're getting this in real time. I just recorded the webinar today. It's my second time going through. Is it up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So secretsclass.com. And I think it says on there, it's $97 if you do it in the next several days. Otherwise, normally $297. Is that right?
I just typed in the link for everybody to go to there in the Zoom. If you're joining us on Clubhouse, it's secrets.class.com. Let's see here. This code expires in 11 days. Yeah, only $97. Yep.
Okay, so it's there on the web, on that page, and this is, they're tracking with cookies. It says if you do it now, it's $97. And if you wait for 11 days or 12 days or whatever, you come back to it later because you're wringing your hands over this $97, it'll go to $297, and then they'll remember you. However, so that's what this class, says $97. I said to Megan Cole, and she texted me, Scott, right before we started. I said, I need something better for Scott's group. And she's like, okay, let me figure something out. And she sent us something that says, go to the okay, so there must be a promo code when you go to sign up.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's on that page or if you have to click through to join.
On the page, secretsclass.com, you type in save, all caps to get it to.
But don't do it. No, don't put that in.
Yep.
Don't put that in. Put in 2021. And it's going to drop it down to $20.21.
Boom. Love it.
That we just made that up for you, dude.
I love you guys.
Made that up for you. So we'll see who jumps on. But go to secretsclass.com. Say you want to do the thing. Punch in promo code 2021. You should remember it. It's the year that we're in. And it knocks the masterclass down to $20.21. You get the 4 modules of the class. You'll get them immediately. And then we're going to be doing live Q&As where the first few will be me. And then after that, it'll be somebody from my team once we get all the bugs worked out. But at first, it'll be me doing the Q&A. And for people that don't know me at all, that won't maybe seem like any big deal. But I'm just not around that often to do that kind of stuff. So you're also going to get a one-on-one live consultation with one of our strategists. and you're going to get the $399 snapshot of your business. You're going to get all that for $20.21. Basically, because you showed up here on Note Night in America with Scott Carson, who is one of my very favorite people, who is one of my dear friends. And we've been, Scott's been including me in his programs for a long time. Scott's spoken at almost every single one of my programs since I've known him. COVID screwed some things up. There's lots of adventures ahead of Scott Carson and I together. So that's something we did tonight for Note Night. I hope that was good. I'm pretty tickled to say it because nobody else, unless this just goes crazy and Megan says, dang, we better add that in for the rest of our life. Nobody else is going to get it but you guys. So I think she's hoping to sell this masterclass for $97. So you guys get it for $20.21. Go to Seekers Class, put in the promo code, and you'll get the 4 modules right away. And then you'll get, you and I will be back together again on a Q&A session. I don't know when it is, but sometime soon.
Right. I mean, we'll get back together. So I'm going back here and testing it out real fast.
Yeah, I hope it's working because seriously, we did it for like
literally just like minutes beforehand. So if the code's not working, check back with it here in a little bit, but it should be working. Add to cart. There we go. Continue shopping or check out. Let me try that. Click the checkout button. Special code 2021. Hit apply. It drops it. It's not recognizing 2021 yet, so it's probably in the process of being fixed right now, everybody.
Okay, so no matter what, if we see you register, and if we, whatever, we'll figure it out. Because she said it would. She said it would work, but I'll just let her know. The page isn't work. Isn't. See, page isn't. Do we have any question?
This would be a good time to ask questions, everybody. So the code is 2021 on that for you guys out there. Let's see here. What questions would you guys have otherwise? Yeah, Lohan, yeah, we're getting it fixed for you guys for some weird reason. So
sorry, guys. Yeah, thank you for going. This is what happens when we do this super fast because I just did it super fast. And even though I knew this was coming, I didn't know I was going to teach this particular class.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to open it up for questions here, specific questions about your LLC, other documents when it comes to it. Stephanie, Lisa, others on Clubhouse, and then those of you guys that are here on Zoom. What questions do you have? So type it in the chat roll, and we can even bring you on live here to ask your question verbally if you'd like. So
sure, you bet.
Let's see here. I'm going to bring one person on there.
Here's what I love is that people are trying the promo code. That makes me really happy.
All right. So Stephanie Goodman, did you have a question?
Oh, there's a satellite delay. I just wanted to thank Aaron for the wonderful information tonight, and also just ask, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm doing great.
That is so good. I'm so happy to hear that.
Business is good. The farm is good. I have my Wednesday, my grandchild number 6 is having his first birthday. I don't have COVID-19 anymore. These are very positive things.
That is a blessing.
I got it, guys, back in 19 or not 19. I got it in November, and I was one of these people who go, "Oh, it's the flu. Who cares?" Then I got it, and it sucked really bad. Okay, I just got a thing. It says, "Oh, maybe it's you know what? It's save 2021."
Oh, okay. Let's try that real fast. That would be. Let me go back here. Type in the code.
Save 2021. Before she just told me promo code 2021. Try save 2021. It's pretty long.
Yeah, just yeah, that's it. Save 2021. That works. No space. It worked. Save
2021. All right. Well, hooray for us. We figured it out. We won't ever have to tell anybody again, but still. But if anybody watches this in a replay or something, they would do it. I don't know what'll happen for people long term if they listen to this year from now on their podcast. But
exactly,
it's for the time being, do it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Take
2020.
advantage of the opportunity, guys. $20.21 to join Aaron for his 4 modules there to go through. I mean, the $3.99 LLC entity snapshot is amazing. You'll learn more about it, and then to sit down with Aaron's team, like I said before the beginning, but for about 95% of our mastermind students are working with Aaron and his team, and everybody's got a unique situation on where they're at or where they want to go long term. Whether you're brand new as a real estate entrepreneur or investor, or you've been an entrepreneur and own a business, whether it's apartments, multifamily, or a realtor, broker, whatever it is, whatever your side hustle is, you want to make sure it's set up properly to protect you in case of something bad happening out there. So make sure ask your questions now. Get signed up at secretsclass.com. That's secrets, that's S, plural, secretsclass.com, and use the code SAVE2021, no space, all caps, SAVE2021, to knock it down from $97 for the 4 module down to $20.21, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm going to jump out of this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Scott. If there are no more questions, I guess we're done, unless you want to ask me questions, but we've been on for an hour, and I think that's normally what you do, isn't it?
Exactly. Thank you so much, brother. I'm going to, guys and gals, take advantage of this. If you're watching this on the replay, when's the class kickoff, Aaron? When's the 4 modules kickoff?
Well, okay, so the Q&A is live, but the modules are pre-recorded. So theoretically, again, I jumped the gun. We just did this to promote it.
This is a special note night and a night.
Oh yeah, this is all real time. You guys are the guinea pigs. Like, we figured out about this promo code in real time. But I've already recorded the classes. So the classes are recorded. You'll get them. Then you'll get the Q&A as soon as Megan schedules it. It won't be this week, but it's good. And we just had somebody say something about generous discount or something, and you're welcome, guys. The goal isn't to make a bunch of money on people up front. The goal is to educate people so they know what to do. And if by some chance Laughlin has something valuable for you, or Scott Carson has something valuable for you, then you can take advantage of it at whatever level is appropriate for where you are today. Too many people try to make their whole, fortune on you when you're unaware of even what's going on. Yeah. And that's bad business. The reason we're 50 years in business is because we take great care of our clients. And that starts by education and then entering wherever they are, which is why the snapshot is valuable. So we're here for the long haul, folks. We're here for the long haul.
Awesome. Good stuff, though. Well, Aaron, once again, thank you so much for delivering. Provides with great content, great discount as always. Big giver. Giver's game, baby. It's a big giver's game for helping people get where they want to be this year.
You're the biggest giver of everyone. This isn't to puff you up in front of the folks. There's nobody who tries harder to support his friends and affiliates and everybody than Scott, or bend over backwards to solve problems, even when you don't owe it to somebody. You're an incredible giver, and I'm delighted that you're my friend.
Same here, brother. Thank you so much for those kind words. I appreciate it. Well, give my best to Michelle, the family. Congratulations, their grandpa, Aaron. Tony asks, is this, let's see, is this mailing out something out, or is it's all online, Tony? It's all online, delivered virtually for you. So
yeah, everything's online. Thank you guys for the nice comments. And you're welcome. Now go do it and take action on it, because that, I was thinking about, I won't say his name, but his first name is Stuart. And he took a chance on something almost identical to this, became a customer, took another chance. And I said, you need to restate your taxes. He restated 3 years of taxes and got $230,000 back.
Yep.
But it started on something just like this.
Yep.
And I didn't make a nickel on that, folks, but you want to tell me if that didn't change that family's life? Yep. You know it did.
Sure
anyway,
did.
all right. Enough about
that. Brother. Hey, we will
see
you sometime soon, hopefully, man. All righty.
Okay, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, bud. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up.
Bye.
Note Night in America tonight, guys. Check us out every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time as we bring on different topics. But once again, thank you guys for jumping on here, being a part of us. And if you joined us late, don't worry. We'll get the replay out to you. Make sure to connect with us on all the social media channels. And we look forward to seeing you all. Stop, everybody. Bye.